Jonathan, welcome to Aurea Leaders. Great having you here. Can you just introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about you, a little bit about your work?
Yeah, so my name's Jonathan Berry. I'm the founder of the MindLab Institute, and for about 6 years I traveled the world and hosted a leadership seminar that was called Biohacking and Future Mapping for Leaders and Luminaries. And today I'm on an entirely new timeline. I do advisory work for family offices, and I help companies around the world in raising capital from wealthy families around the world.
Ooh, okay. So that was quite the jump there.
Yeah.
So what's the story there?
Yeah, so during the pandemic, when the world shut down, I was on my way to Oregon to see my family.
Yeah.
And we couldn't, I just got off a flight, and I thought, surely I have this thing. So I went into nature, to my favorite hot spring in Oregon before seeing my family. And I meditated for 3 days. And during this time, I got a very clear calling. The voice came to me and said, I want you to dedicate your life to the earth and to healing the earth. And throughout my life, I've been a regenerative advocate for our planet. I've developed a curriculum that was adopted by the U.S. military and the Department of Education in Hawaii. We did energy audits on buildings of all the state buildings across the islands. And then I started bringing agriculture technology companies to Hawaii, and then I started doing fundraising for hydrogen energy companies. And so throughout my life, I've had this connection to the universe, to God, to source, to the earth, and I've always been an advocate for our planet. But at the same time, having my spiritual awakening, there's also been this other side of my journey that has been deeply dedicated to helping people in the process of waking up and finding the path of their dharma.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, what do you feel was the? You said you've always been kind of this regenerative type of person. Was there a particular moment, a time that just kind of made you shift into this, or you were always like this? What's the story there?
Yeah, well, as someone who has experienced great trauma as a child, I was a victim of child trafficking. And when I was very young, I was suicidal. And at the point that I was about to take my life, God came to me and told me that it had a great mission for me on this world. And that's really when the first initiation began of my dark night, the dark night of the soul, which we all go through in different levels of intensity. Yeah. Through mine, I was saved through the Christian church. Eventually was initiated with the gift of prophecy by the elders, and the same year I took a heroic dose of mushrooms when I was 14 years old. And so I've always been available to take on these initiations that the universe brings to me. And through that time, through my youth, I was passionate about quantum physics and neuroscience and epigenetics, and I got to study with some of my heroes like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Nassim Haramein, Amit Goswami, and I got to actually meet my heroes at a very young age, and that really impacted me. To be physically in the presence of people who I look up to and admire, it reminds me of Aurea in the community here. I was at the World Congress of Quantum Medicine, and I got to meet these heroes, and it's like when you come to a space like this and you get to be surrounded by thought leaders and people who are deeply dedicated to doing their work, and they're on their path, and they get to share those codes. We get to exchange codes in that way. And that eventually led to a near-death experience. I got hit by a truck on a scooter and almost died. And right around that time, I read the book, The Power of Now, and had a profound awakening experience.
Wow, sounds like it.
Yeah, it was epic.
Quite the story all
happens.
around. Yeah, definitely. So, yeah, wow. So I did get to experience during your speech. We did the activation that you led us through, which was dynamic, extremely powerful. Yeah. Is this the kind of work that you do? Is this how you're leading people into these quantum leaps? or what is your work like?
Yeah, so in a past life, pre-COVID, I had been sharing these types of facilitations around the world. Our biohacking and future mapping for leaders and luminaries was one of our seminars. The ecstatic awakening retreat was a 10-day ecstatic dance journey that we took around the world, and so that was a big part of my life for many years. And then at a certain point, during the pandemic, I decided to take a dose of my own medicine to be able to see a new timeline, to be able to ask the universe what is the next level. And so now the work that I'm doing today is completely different. And so now I'm doing fundraising for companies that are changing the world.
But you don't bring this work into that space?
Good question. I do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm a strategic interventionalist by trade.
Okay.
So part of my work as a coach and a consultant is that I work with individuals who are either in deep trauma or who are going through a transition, or I've even done work like soul retrieval, exorcisms, clearing of energies from buildings, from homes, throughout the decades of being on this spiritual journey.
Okay.
And so now I feel my calling is to bring that level of awareness and consciousness to a higher level. And that's why every year we bring a group of luminary leaders to Davos, Switzerland during the World Economic Forum. And we show up, and each one of these individuals is changing the world in some way. And if you watch the media and you see the narratives that are coming out in these types of environments, there's a lot of top-down stories that are kind of being enforced upon the people. And so while a lot of people are, when they hear that I'm going to Davos, they're like, why are you going there? Like, it's a terrible place. And I say, no, we're going to show up, and we're going to make sure our voices are heard. And we're also going to become friends with these people, and we're going to do the work from the inside. And so, it's an inside job, and it's really powerful work. And I feel like the work that I've done in the past, healing from my trauma, helping thousands of other people heal from their trauma and transform their lives, and now this call to then take it to the next level. I felt like the theme of the shift was when I had my spiritual awakening. My mission was to awaken consciousness on this planet, to help humanity wake up. And now it's systemic evolution to evolve the systems, the awakening of the systems of our planet.
Yeah, so you're bringing some of that past life stuff into these higher level realms so that can perform at an even real higher level.
Yeah.
Like a higher level frequency of things. And how's that been going?
It's powerful. It's profound. It's mind-blowing. So many days I'm like, I feel like I'm living in a movie, and I really do believe that the universe is expressing itself as us. Like, it is expressing itself as you. And I love the idea of archetypes, the archetype of the king, the queen, the lover, the jester, there's a full spectrum of these. And I believe that each individual is an archetype, and that the universe is expressing itself as an archetype of you. And the curiosity that I bring to the work that I do with individuals is, what is the fullest expression of the archetype of your soul in this lifetime? What is the fullest expression of your soul? What does the greatest expression look like? What does that feel like? How is that expressed in your career, in your relationships, in the way that you align yourself with your mission? And so that's been a profound piece of my journey. And in fact, the work that I do with individuals is, through my consulting company, Sacred Strategy, is that I channel the future for people. And ever since this initiation as a kid, with the gift of prophecy, opening up my awareness, doing work with thousands of people over the years has led me to cultivating my acuity to be able to actually sense into an individual's expression of their dharma, and moving from doing our karma work to doing our dharma work. And yeah, it's been profound, because actually doing that work is what led me to meeting the Dunhill family, who I'm currently working with and supporting them in doing the initiatives that we're doing to help companies raise capital. We're actually about to do a big event in London called Raising Impact. It's an impact investment event, and it's amazing. It's amazing to witness and to be a part of this.
Wow. And do you have a final question? Do you have a vision of what the next chapter could look like for you?
Yeah, so the first article that I ever wrote on ChatGPT, first thing I ever put in there, was an article that was on my heart for a long time, and I had wanted to write it, but I couldn't find the time. And so I wrote, write a comparative essay exploring the difference between and the intersection between the Renaissance, the age of the Renaissance, and the regenerative movement, and define the term regenaissance. And so I see the next level being a new earth renaissance, where we are harnessing the power of AI and coming into singularity with human consciousness as well as the planet. And there's this intersection between humanity, technology, and nature, where we are going to begin to see a great synergy and what's called syntropy. Syntropy is the opposite of entropy. Entropy is where the muscles or systems are falling apart. Syntropy is higher degrees of order and structure, similar to cymatics, when you put the salt on the vibrating plate and it shifts forms. I believe that we are going to see a great new earth regenaissance, where we are going to become greater stewards of our planet, greater stewards of our minds and our bodies. We're going to be given more time. We're not going to have to work as much, so we don't have to do 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. It's great. We get more time to play and be human, what we do best. We can let robots and technology take our jobs. Thank you. Thank you for taking our jobs. Now we get to just enjoy life and steward the earth, become greater stewards of the earth. And so that's the future that I'm breathing life into. That is the narrative, the prescription that I'm writing to cast a spell into the future, to spell out what it is that we're writing, that we're typing into ChatGPT. That is the codex that we are, that we're enforcing through our actions and through our creations, to our creativity. And so, yeah, that's the future I see.
Beautiful. I could expand on that in so many different ways. But one thing I will say is that I love your outlook on AI. What the media is putting out there is very fear-based, of course, as always. Yeah. So I love this outlook of like, hey, this could actually be for the greater good.
It's gonna be so great.
Yeah. So it just depends on how we use this technology, what we do with it, and our mindset, a perspective about it. So. Yeah. I'm loving this new chapter for the world, for the collective. Yeah. So thank you so much. Yes. Before we go, can you share with us your experience and the value that you have gotten out of Aurea leaders? Absolutely.
As somebody who identifies as being part of the conscious community, everywhere I travel, I also identify as being decentralized, so I'm a global human, I'm a global citizen, and everywhere I go when I travel, I'm always looking for the conscious community, and sometimes it's the easiest way for me to find that is through ecstatic dance, and so, but I'm always looking to see, what is the sentiment of the conscious community, what is the robustness of the community, and how are people coming together, and to move to Miami and to know that Aurea exists really just makes me feel like I'm at home. And I built a conscious community in Oahu called the Vibe Tribe. We host weekly ecstatic dance, weekly sound healings, weekly workshops. We have a venue. I mean, it's just this beautiful epicenter for the conscious community to come together. We call it an incubator and accelerator for conscious entrepreneurs and healers. And I feel like that's exactly what Aurea is, and that's what they're providing, and that's why I'm so grateful to show up in service and to be a part of it, because it's part of my dharma, you know, to show up like the same way that when we are doing our karma work, karma yogis in the yoga studio, you know, we come to yoga for free and we sweep the floors in exchange, you know, and it's like we get to come and we get to do that work. We give and then we receive.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Jonathan. It's been amazing speaking with you. So much more to explore and expand and, you know, just talk about, but we are running out of time. But this has been so great. Ecstatic Dance this morning was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
That was a whole other level of expansion. And I've never done it quite like that before. I think it was a combination of you, your experience, the other Jonathan, that's his name as well. So that was magnificent. Loved
Thank you
it.
so much. Yeah, thanks for sharing this space and time. I'm excited to go deeper, and always a pleasure to connect.
Yes, thank you.
Hand
Love
hug.
that. Hand hug.
Peace.
Love that.